Broadcasting from the Attention Era Media Studios in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, this is What's the Score, the Sports News Quiz. I'm your game master, Josh Scheibe, the man who loves autumn, the season when the leaves all yell, "Help, I've fallen and I can't get up." And now, here's a man who I know will never leave me high and dry, the host of What's the Score, Baxter Colburn.
Thank you, Josh. Thank you, everybody. I sure hope they have Leaf Alert instead of Life Alert. Anyway, September is finally here, though, which means football on all levels is finally back. It's been a fantastic time to see the college football world going mad already. The NFL just days away from kickoff. And, of course, it also means that Starbucks has rolled out their pumpkin spice lattes again, Game Master Shabby, which I know you are exceptionally thrilled about, correct?
Oh, I can't wait.
I know you are. You had 3 before you were even on the air before. We also, though, have 2 new faces joining our panel this week, so we are very excited about that. However, though, if you'd rather be stuck on our show instead of in line behind a basic white girl at Starbucks, why don't you visit our website? Go to WTSSportsQuiz.com or visit our social media pages to sign up for some sports quiz fun.
You can also find the show on demand on the Sports Podcasting Network, Spreaker, iTunes, Stitcher, and Vavel USA.
All right, let's meet our panelists this week. First up, he is a sports journalist, a Yooper, and a former all-conference lineman at Wisconsin Lutheran College. Please welcome Ian DeMarse to the program.
Thanks, Baxter. Good to be back. Shout out to the University of Michigan for dominating yesterday 63-3 over Hawaii.
Did you see the Flying Jordan meme?
I did.
Oh my gosh, ridiculous. Anyway, all right, moving on. Next up, he is the sports editor for OnMilwaukke.com. Please welcome Jimmy Carlton to the program.
Thank you very much. Excited to be here. Less of a shout out for my Northwestern Wildcats. Tough loss to Western Michigan yesterday.
Tough loss. It's a rebuilding year for Northwestern, right?
College basketball is going to start soon.
Got to just keep moving on to the next sport. I love it. And finally, he is a former Packers beat writer for 540 ESPN, a semi-retired pro wrestler, a fantasy football guru, and he's the co-host of the Kielbasa Kings Sports Extravaganza Weekly podcast. Please welcome Scott Wisnieski to the program.
It's a pleasure to be here. My alma mater doesn't have a football team, so
Where did you go? I have
UWM.
To oh, okay. The Panthers.
Yeah.
Have they ever had football?
Yeah, like way before I was even born.
Oh, good to know. I had not known that. All right. Well, welcome to the show, panel. Great to have you all here. A very special welcome, of course, to you, Jimmy, and to Scott as well. Are you guys both nervous for your first time on the panel, Scott?
I am more nervous about this than my first time in the Lambeau locker room.
Really?
Yeah, really.
Speaking to Brett Favre and everybody back, and you're just like, yeah, that's just... So am I more intimidating than Brett Favre?
I think it's the concept.
The concept.
You're less passive-aggressive than Brett Favre. So.
Thank you. It's still early. You don't know for sure. And Jimmy, what about you, sir?
I'm petrified.
Petrified. You're speechless. You can't even.
You've got a great setup here, so
I appreciate it.
Must be something great.
I hope so. All right, well, let's get a move on with our first Game Master Scheibe.
It's time to get this show on the road with our first contestant game. Joining us on the phone to play Quotable Context is Kyle Pavella. Welcome to the show, Kyle.
Hey, thank you very much.
All right, Kyle, you're going to be playing our first game called Quotable Context, where Game Master Scheibe will read you 5 quotes from this last week's news, and you must correctly identify the context of each quote. Do that 3 out of 5 times, and you will win a What's the Score prize. If you do get stuck on a question, though, Kyle, you can ask one of our 3 esteemed panelists for a hint, but only on one question. Are you ready to play?
Yes, sir.
All right, here is your first clue.
My faith is strong, my faith is unwavering, and my vision is clear. My purpose will not be denied.
That was what NFL quarterback this week who took his season-ending injury a lot better than people thought he would?
That would be Teddy Bridgewater.
Yes, that is correct. For those that know, Teddy Bridgewater suffered a non-contact injury in practice for the Vikings this last week. Shortly after the Vikings figured, well, if we don't have a quarterback, let's trade for Sam Bradford to the Eagles. That is basically ensured that they will win 0 games the rest of the season. And Bradford, to add insult to injury, also tore his ACL while signing his new contract as well.
Is that much of an improvement, though? Because
that's what I really want to know.
People are saying that they could still make the playoffs with Sean Hill, and then you get Sam Bradford, who's been basically inconsistent throughout his whole career. I mean, the trade was just so
I've always had an
surprising to see.
issue with that, though, when it comes to trading players. It's like Sam Bradford's, this is what, his 3rd or 4th team now, finally? It's like, is he actually that good if he keeps getting traded?
I think Bradford is better than Sean Hill, but really, if Adrian Peterson goes down, it's all over anyway.
Yeah,
and I think that was the case whether Bridgewater
I think Adrian
was there
Peterson
or not.
should just play every position on offense, I guess.
The answer was already on the roster, and they waived him. It was Joel Stabby.
Exactly. I was like, come on. I would love to have seen Joel Stabby, the starting quarterback of the Minnesota Vikings. All right, Kyle, here is your next quote.
All right.
There is no doubt in my mind that I want to be the greatest football player to ever play this game.
That was what NFL quarterback this week in an interview with the Players Tribune, revealing his future career goals.
I'm going to go with Cam Newton.
Yes, that is correct. Cam Newton led the Panthers to an incredible season last year and hopes to do the same. Of course, he's a very special player. But do his claims of wanting to be the greatest player to ever play the game actually have any chance of happening, though? That's my real question.
I mean, definitely has a decent chance, but what I'm more looking forward to seeing from Cam Newton is what's his next touchdown celebration going to be.
It was the dab last year.
Yeah.
What else can you do with your hands?
He did say that, he said on SportsCenter that he wouldn't really give anything away, but he did say it was going to be pretty saucy and dripping.
Pretty saucy and dripping.
It's going to be hard to be the greatest player of all time. Whether or not he can do it or not remains to be seen, but he's going to have to try to recover some of those fumbles.
Exactly. Not be so passive-aggressive, be like, oh, there's the ball. Nah, I'm good. I don't know. All right, Kyle, here's your next quote.
All right.
His acquisition was bigger than any acquisition that we ever made, including the Big Three.
That was Pat Riley stating that what player was actually a bigger get in his mind than LeBron James for the Miami Heat?
That would be Shaquille O'Neal.
Yes, that is correct. Now, I'm genuinely curious because, Jimmy, you're a pretty big basketball guy. You follow the Milwaukee Bucks and all that, too. From a basketball standpoint, do you agree with this quote by Pat Riley? I mean, LeBron James is a pretty good player to get, but is Shaq that much better, though?
I think that's a little revisionist history. Those guys are gone.
Yes.
That championship-winning time is over, and it's
I
easy
agree.
to look back on the big fella as
Shaq didn't win a title, though, in Miami.
No,
did
they did.
He got
that was
one.
Dwayne
That's
Wade's first
right.
title, but
I
he was
remember.
well past his expiration date by then.
Yeah, I was a little iffy on that one. All right, Kyle, here is your next quote.
All right.
Honestly, that is a cool person. I'd hang out with him any day.
That was Travis Rudolph of FSU after he did what this past week that melted the hearts of America?
I believe it was he sat down and had lunch with a I think it was like a middle school student that I think had autism or something along those lines.
Yes, yep, that is absolutely correct. It was a very special moment that just makes your heart happy. The kid was sitting alone at the lunch table when Rudolph spotted him and went over and sat by him. It was a very touching moment.
And though I may be old, I'm not completely jaded. I love stories like this, and I would love to see more of these and some of the other things, obviously, we deal with from week to week.
No, I completely agree. I mean, in light of that, I mean, it was a little unfortunate to hear everything going on with Colin Kaepernick, but then to see this nice, shining moment. You don't hear about that a lot anymore in the sports world. All right, Kyle, let's see if we can go for perfect with your final quote.
All right.
Your old teacher's younger yearbook picture.
That was one of the many reactions coming out this week after what NFL quarterback got a new haircut?
You
You do have a hint?
know what? I think I'm going to ask one of the panelists for some help on this one.
Okay, would you like to ask Jimmy, Ian, or Scott?
I'll ask Ian.
All right, Ian, how can you help Kyle?
All right, this quarterback was suspended for Deflategate.
It's about as easy as it gets.
Oh, okay. There we go. That would be Tom Brady.
Yes, that is correct. People are also saying he looks like Tom Cruise, among many other things, but we are going to stay on the air to not say those other words. Game Master Scheibe, how did Kyle do on our show?
Kyle got 5 out of 5 correct. A perfect score. He's a winner.
Congratulations, Kyle. Thank you so much for playing.
All right, before we move on, I do want to note that Ian gets a point for giving a successful hint in that game.
Hey, nicely done, Ian. Starting off the show strong. I like it.
And we're heading to our first break now, but when we come back, our panelists will have their first crack at showcasing their knowledge of this week's sports news. You're listening to What's the Score? The Sports News Quiz.
Hey everyone, this is Baxter Colburn, host of What's the Score, the Sports News Quiz.
And I'm your game master, Josh Scheibe.
If you think you are smart enough, or smarter than a 5th grader, and want to play our games on air, you can either come by the studio or you can call us, but there's a few different ways you can get a hold of us.
If you'd like to email us, you can do so at WTSSportsQuiz@gmail.com.
Or for you social media savants, head over to Facebook, What's the Score, the Sports News Quiz, or Twitter, WTS Sports Quiz. Now back to the action with myself and Josh Scheibe.
Hey, it's Kevin of the Sports Podcasting Network on SPN. On top of What's the Score, the Sports News Quiz, you can find a plethora of great sports podcasts. Hardwood Radio, Gridiron Radio, Sports, It's in the Game, Scuderia F1, the second most listened to F1 podcast in the whole world, Soccer Today, live radio shows like Open Lines After Dark, MLS Postgame Show, 202 Soccer Podcast, Off the Woodworks, and much, much more. All that on the Sports Podcasting Network.com.
Welcome back, everyone. You're listening to What's the Score, the Sports News Quiz. I'm your Game Master, Josh Scheibe. This week, our panelists are Ian DeMarse, Jimmy Carlton, and Scott Wisnieski. And now, here's your host at the Attention Era Media Studios in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Baxter Coleman.
Thank you, Josh. Thank you, everybody. Time now for our panelists to showcase their knowledge about this past week's sports news. Ian, we will start with you first. Twitter buzzed on Saturday when two football players decided to sit next to each other on a bench to combine their last name into what famous actor's name?
Ooh. Could you repeat it one more time?
Yes, I saw Twitter was buzzing on Saturday when two football players decided to sit next to each other to inadvertently combine their last names into what famous actor's full name.
Oh, wow. I'm going to need a hint on that one.
He will probably help you get a cashback rewards card with Capital One.
Ooh. I'm picturing the commercial in my head, but...
He's also been in Avengers, I think, as well, too, among other things.
Was it Chris Evans?
No, it was not, unfortunately. It was Samuel L. Jackson. There's a guy that actually had Samuel for the last name and then L. Jackson on another jersey. There's been, I think I saw Golden Showers was another one. There was Clark Griswold was another one, too. There was a couple of them all on the same day. It was kind of funny.
Those football players can spell.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, look, we can do our names next to each other.
All right, Jimmy, the next one's for you. This week, a pub in Lancashire, England, held the championship for what prestigious sport?
Darts.
Wow, he was very darty with that answer. No, that is incorrect, actually. It was gravy wrestling. So let's walk through this here if we can for a moment. Picture, if you will, 16 men and 8 women competing in the World Gravy Wrestling Championships at the Rose and Bull Pub in Stacked Leeds, Lancashire. The way it works, the wrestling ring is 14 feet by 13 feet. It's a pool filled with gravy. You have 2 minutes to go after each other. There's 3 judges that award points on entertainment value, but not just wrestling. The losers get gravy bombed in the laughing stocks.
Let me guess. Either way, they took the people that were in the gravy pit and then they just jumped into a big pit of mashed potatoes after, I'm assuming?
Basically. They just got them ready for Thanksgiving ahead of time.
That's actually not as self-explanatory as I thought when you said it.
Yes. Sorry about that. All right, moving over to you, Scott. With her win this week, Serena Williams not only surpassed Martina Navratilova, but tied what male tennis player for Grand Slam wins?
Roger Federer.
Yes, that is correct.
I would not have gotten those first 2 questions, so thank you.
Yes, you're very welcome. We try to start you off a little bit easy. Sorry, Jimmy, though. I mean, that was kind of thrown to the gravy pit on that.
I've watched darts on TV in England.
So you were very oh, it's darts. I was like, wow, but no.
They got some weird stuff over there.
They really do. The British are fun folks. We love them.
Well, we're heading to a break, but when we come back, our second contestant will have a chance to play one of our new games. We'll show you what we mean in just a few minutes when we come back on What's the Score, the Sports News Quiz. What's the Score would like to take this time to thank one of our partners, Vavel USA, the international online sports newspaper, for their support. Head over to vavel.com/en-US today as they provide professional reporting on all major sports in the USA. Follow them on Twitter at @Vavel_USA and go like their Facebook page for prime access to the ultimate source for sports coverage on the web. We here at What's the Score are proud to partner with a terrific organization like Vavel USA.
Hey guys, this is Baxter, the host of What's the Score, the sports news quiz. Want to take a minute to remind all of you to go and check us out on social media. You can find us on Facebook at What's the Score, the sports news quiz, on Twitter at WTS Sports Quiz, and on Instagram at WTS Sports Quiz as well. And if you enjoy the whole hashtag game, like some of us hashtag like to do, hashtag goals, hashtag believer, hashtag, I don't know, I'm running out of hashtags. Anyway, use the hashtag What's the Score on Twitter and Instagram, and check out some of the other exclusive content that we do as well. Connecting all of us one smartphone at a time.
Hello all, and welcome back to the Attention Era Media Studios in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. This is What's the Score, the sports news quiz. I'm Josh Scheibe, your game master. We have a fantastic panel here today. It's Jimmy Carlton, Scott Wisnieski, and Ian DeMarse, and they'll have the opportunity to show their prowess in just a little bit. Before that, though, here's the host of What's the Score, Baxter Colburn.
Thank you, Josh. Coming up, we put our panelists to the test in our Name 5 Panelist Showdown. If you would like to play our games on the air, why not visit our website, WTSSportsQuiz.com, and sign up today.
Playing our next game is Noel Alberto. Welcome to the show, Noel.
Hi, thanks for having me on.
Noel, we're excited to have you. As you may know, Noel, this past week, NFL teams had to make their final cuts to get their rosters down to 53 players. In that process, there were some actually notable names cut from certain teams, some that still have some fans and myself confused.
In this game, which we're calling Who Got Cut, we will give you 5 sets of 2 players. One did get cut, while the other did not. You must tell us who's no longer on the team at least 3 times. If you do that, you'll win a What's the Score prize. If you get stuck, feel free to ask one panelist for a hint on only one question. Are you ready to play?
Yes, I am.
All right, here's your first one. Who got cut? Was it Trevor Siemian or Mark Sanchez?
Mark Sanchez.
Yes, that is correct. Mark Sanchez hit the unemployment line for all of about 0.5 seconds, and then the Cowboys were like, sure, we want to be bad. Come on and play for us, Mark Sanchez. Okay. Anyway, here is your next one. Who got cut? Was it Justin Forsett or Kenneth Dixon?
Justin Forsett.
Yes, that is correct. I'll be honest, I'm a little confused by the Justin Forsett cutting.
I am confused as well. The only thing I can think is he hit the dreaded age of 30.
And for running backs, you're about 85 at that point.
Yeah, absolutely.
He
had
only
a
takes
great year 2 years ago.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like more people are surprised about this because probably more than half the country already did their fantasy football draft, and he probably got drafted.
I took a hard look at him the other night. I'm like, Justin Forsett. I'm like, nah, I'll get somebody else. So right now I'm feeling very relaxed. All right, here's your next one.
Who got cut? Was it Cecil Shorts or Trevor Davis?
What was the second name again?
Cecil Shorts or Trevor Davis?
Trevor Davis?
That is incorrect. No, unfortunately. It was Cecil Shorts III. I would hate to have that first name if I had a lisp, unfortunately. But yes, he got cut, notably from the Houston Texans. Trevor Davis out for the year, but he is a part of the Green Bay Packers. So Trevor Davis survived the draft, the cut, as it were. All right, here's your next one. Who got cut? Was it Stephen Ridley or Arian Foster?
Stephen Ridley?
Yes, that is correct. Another one of those running backs over the age of 30.
Yeah, and a guy who had the distinction of getting cut twice in this.
Did he really?
Yes.
Oh, I had not known that. You learn something new every day.
And no offense to Arian Foster, but he's probably going to get cut down by injury at some point.
Yeah, I mean, he played well in the preseason, I feel like, for Miami, but I mean, Lamar Miller is definitely the number one back in Miami. All right, here's your final one, Noel.
Who got cut? Was it Lane Taylor or Josh Sitton?
Lane Taylor?
That is incorrect. No. Josh Sitton, actually. I, as a Green Bay Packer fan, am still thoroughly confused by this. They cut the 3-time Pro Bowl, all-pro offensive lineman, and I don't know why.
I mean, I'm not sure if maybe it's a contract issue. Maybe they're trying to get rid of some money. I heard they're trying to trade him, but it's still confusing.
Actually, there's a couple of sources that talk to some of the scouts that say that they feel like not only has he lost a step, but they feel that the back injuries are a little bit more chronic than people have let on.
I saw that news, and I'm like, wait, what? I'm like, that doesn't make a lot of sense. I don't know. All right, Game Master Shabby, how did Noel do on our quiz?
He got 3 out of 5 correct. He's a winner!
Hey! Yeah. Way to go, Noel. Congratulations. All right, panel, some more questions for you about this past week's sports news. Scott, starting with you. A couple out in India came under fire this week after they falsely claimed to do what great feat?
I'm going to need a hint.
Okay, they were probably very, very cold if doing said feat, and not a lot of people have done this as well.
Climbed Mount Everest?
Yes, that is correct. An Indian couples assert they say that they climbed Mount Everest. However, they had it ripped away by the Nepal authorities, saying that they photoshopped the photos. That's saying that no, they did not actually climb all the way up, and they have been banned from climbing all mountains in Nepal for a decade as well too. I didn't realize that climbing Mount Everest was such a Photoshop offense.
And how do you enforce the ban?
Yeah. I mean, you can't, put a wall around the mountains and be like, no, you guys can't get in. It's like, if you're in that snow gear, you can't tell who they are. Come on.
All right, the next question is for you, Ian. David Ortiz is retiring after this season from baseball. He continues to receive amazing parting gifts, including a life-size statue of himself made out of what?
Ooh. I've heard about this, but I'm still going to need a hint.
Still going to need a hint.
If you step on one of these, they really, really hurt.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I have a child on the way. I will have to deal with these soon.
Ooh. I feel
it's the pain of a billion knives in your foot, basically.
Knives in your foot. Wow, I'm just drawing a blank right here.
Give us a guess. Anything.
Diapers? I have no idea.
I would have loved to have seen that. No, Legos. Legos. The number of Lego bricks, 34,510. The hours of labor, 290, just to make this.
I've got a 4-year-old grandson that lives with me, and that hurts. No pain.
I have little brothers, too. Even when I go home and visit, they've got Legos all over the place, and I'm like, exactly. I love Legos, though, personally. All right, Jimmy, question here for you. Steve Spurrier was honored at the opening Florida Gators game. He had the stadium renamed after him, of course, to show his appreciation for the fans. What did he do to show his thanks to them?
I need a hint.
He did something that is a signature move of an Olympic athlete.
Sang the national anthem?
He did not. No, unfortunately. He did the Usain Bolt lightning pose in the end zone. It was very interesting to see Spurrier. I think he's in his late 70s now, I think, at this point, and he did it pretty well, too.
I thought we were going to get a shocking answer, like he wore some South Carolina gear.
Yeah, just be like, South Carolina, be like, Gamecocks, be like, just kidding, you guys named a stadium after me. No, it was very interesting. He showed his appreciation with a very familiar pose for those that follow Usain Bolt.
Well, it's time for another break, but don't worry, we'll be right back, and our panelists will have another chance to answer some questions about this week's sports news. Don't go away. You're listening to What's the Score? The Sports News Quiz.
Hey guys, this is Baxter Colburn, host of What's the Score, the sports news quiz. If you enjoy listening to What's the Score, why not go and donate to our Patreon account today? That's patreon.com. Search for What's the Score and donate today. You can get awesome t-shirts, before the show shout-outs, and so much more. Tell your friends about us. Hey, if you donate, we'd be happy to give you a shout-out and even have you come on the show and play a game or two with us as well.
James Corsmo of TitletownSoundoff.com here with the man they call Bobo.
Howdy.
And we want to tell you a bit about our podcast, Titletown Sound.
We're fans of the Green Bay Packers, as I'm sure many of you are, and we know there are plenty of opinions out there, but we think we give you some unique takes that vary between the level-headed and sensible, all the way to the entertainingly absurd.
That's our specialty, the entertainingly absurd.
Sure is. We've got other hosts to talk sensible-like.
So the website is Titletown Soundoff, and the podcast is Titletown Sound?
That's right.
So the podcast just leaves off the off?
Yes.
So fans of the Packers should go in to TitletownSoundoff.com to get into the podcast.
Exactly.
That's a lot of prepositions.
Sure is, James. It sure is. Now back to two of my favorite prepositions on the interwebs, Baxter and Josh.
Those are nouns.
Oh yeah.
Welcome back to What's the Score, the Sports News Quiz, and thanks for listening in. We're broadcasting from the Attention Era Media Studios in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I'm your game master, Josh Scheibe, and we're playing this week with Scott Wisnieski, Ian DeMarse, and Jimmy Carlton. And here, once again, is your host of What's the Score, Baxter Colburn.
Thank you, Josh. Thank you, everybody. We've had a fantastic show so far. Is it really September already, Game Master Scheibe?
Apparently it is. I don't know where the summer went.
I'm still awaiting official confirmation from you, by the way, Game Master Scheibe, what I should name my child. We are only a few months away
Liz
from that
might have
as well,
something to
too.
say about that.
She respects you. We were dealing with, Game Master Scheibe Colburn. I think that's I think that has a good flow to it.
I would be honored.
We've heard a lot of crazy name suggestions, so I feel like why not? All right, well, we are at the segment of the show that I really enjoy because I don't have to do anything except ask the questions. We're at a segment called Stump the Scheibe. So the way it works is I will give Game Master Scheibe 2 sports facts. One of them is real. One of them is false. He must tell me which one he thinks is real and which is false, and all through the process of whatever he decides to do. Are you ready, Game Master Scheibe?
As ready as I'll ever be.
All right, here is your first sports fact. David Beckham has officially been given the highest honor when last year he was knighted by Queen Elizabeth. David Beckham, the soccer player. Here's your next one. When Tim Tebow started that playoff game against the Pittsburgh Steelers for the Denver Broncos a couple of years ago, you'll remember, he finished the game with 316 passing yards. Very similar to John 3:16. Very coincidental that he happened to throw the amount of yardage that he is known for referencing of the verse.
All right, these are getting a little harder.
So David Beckham gets knighted. Tim Tebow has divine passing yards.
I feel like I would have heard about the David Beckham thing and don't remember actually hearing about it. That said, I also don't remember actually hearing about the Tim Tebow thing, and probably would have heard about that.
You're in a bit of a pickle, aren't you?
Yeah,
now?
just a little bit. Let's see.
I mean, David Beckham, very, very important in England, but as we know, God shows no favorites except unless your name is Tim Tebow.
I think I'm actually going to go ahead and say that it was the Tebow thing.
That is correct, yes. Tim Tebow started his only playoff game, finished with 316 passing yards. It's very coincidental, but a very Tim Tebow thing to have happen at the same time.
Congrats to Tim Tebow. He might have finally gotten offered a minor league contract with the Atlanta Braves.
Yeah, that'll be very interesting to see what happens.
Are we sure it was divine passing yards, or is he just a fan of Steve Austin?
Mixture of both, I feel like. All right, Game Master Scheibe, let's roll along with the show.
It's time for our last slate of questions for our panelists this week. Jimmy, the first one's for you. With the Badgers beating LSU and Houston beating Oklahoma, this marked the first time in 44 years that what took place?
Those two events occurred simultaneously.
Indeed, but what was so special about the two teams that lost?
I'm going to have to go out on a limb and ask for a hint.
Okay. Who would you like to ask for a hint?
Baxter.
Okay. So as you know, there is a thing that comes out before the college football season kicks out that involves 25 teams.
Sure.
So based off of what that was and the teams that lost, kind of bring some sort of a special historical moment together.
Two top 10 AP poll top 10 teams lost?
Yes, we'll give it to you. It was two top 5 technically, but two top 10. Yes, so
5's inside 10.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I gave it to you. That's why I looked at Game Master Scheibe. He's like, yeah, it works. It's fine. Yeah, so a truly historic day, though, for the Badgers and Houston. They were both projected to lose, too, by double digits, and yet they pulled the upsets. The college football gods had different plans. This is why we love college football. All right, next question over you, Scott. Fans of the popular FIFA soccer games were divided when it was revealed that who has the best rating in the game this year?
I forget his first name, but I'm Ronaldo?
Yes, that is correct. That's all you need. You don't need the Cristiano part
I'm
of it.
I'm learning to get better at soccer. It's finally beating me down. All the ESPN exposure.
Yeah.
It's finally getting to me.
I'm glad. You're going to be a soccer disciple at one of these points. Yes. Ronaldo has a 94 rating, while Lionel Messi, how many people think is the best player in the world, has a 93. Neymar has a 92. It's the first time in a long time that Ronaldo has been listed as the better player. Jimmy, you're a bit of a FIFA fan, to my knowledge. You follow the soccer world. Is this a fair representation?
No. There's absolutely no way.
You think Messi's the better player?
Better player than Messi.
Really? Okay.
He has enough, and he finally got the Euro. without even playing. He
hasn't won the World
looks
Cup
great.
yet,
He's
though.
got a supermodel wife. He's
living the dream.
He doesn't need it. He doesn't need the FIFA.
I feel a little bit
validation.
of resentment or jealousy.
Yeah, as a short guy like Lionel Messi, I think that Ronaldo has enough, and he doesn't need the rating too.
Okay, good to know.
All right, Ian. The Nebraska football team received a special delay of game on Saturday due to their team doing what?
They took the delay game in memory of their punter that passed away, so they only had 10 on the field.
Yes, that is correct. For those that remember, this offseason, the team's punter, Sam Fultz, tragically died in a car crash. Also, that killed Michigan State punter Mike Sadler as well. During the game, though, banners with SF-27 flew. There was a very special moment on the field. Not a dry eye, either, in the Hill Stadium.
I don't know if you noticed this, but the Badgers kicker, I'm pretty sure, I don't know if he had this number, but he's number 27 now, and after he made that game-winning field goal, took like a praise up to God.
I did see that, yes.
He actually changed his number from 10 to 27 to honor folks.
I saw a lot of people, I think, had kind of have done that. A lot of kickers and punters around the country have been doing that. It's a very touching moment, really.
Well, folks, it's time for another break, but when we come back, our final contestant hopes to bing home the bacon. You'll find out what we mean in just a minute.
Oh
Don't go away. You're listening to What's the Score? The Sports News Quiz.
Two Up Front is the American soccer show on the Sports Podcasting Network. Join Baxter Colburn and Simon Provan on Fridays at 11:30 a.m. Central as they cover all things American soccer, with weekly guests from the pro, college, and youth ranks and digging deep into the American professional leagues. Two Up Front gives you the insight you're looking for. Airing at 11:30 a.m. Central on SportsPodcastingNetwork.com, it's Two Up Front, the world's game from an American perspective.
Welcome back, everyone. This is What's the Score? The Sports News Quiz. I'm Josh Shivey, your game master. Our Name 5 panelist showdown is coming up. But first, we have a game called Bing Me This. Here to get the game going is your host at the Attention Era Media Studios here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. It's Baxter Colburn.
Thank you, Josh. Thank you, everybody. Reminder, our Name 5 panelist showdown is right around the corner. Make sure to go check out our website as well, WTSSportsQuiz.com. Check out our panelist leaderboard as well to see who tops it and who our top 5 are and all other kinds of exciting action that we have on the show.
It's time to welcome in our final contestant. Playing our final game is Brett Schomer. Welcome to the show, Brett.
Well, thank you for having me here. Thank you.
We are very excited to have you here, Brett. So as you probably know, the internet is a very interesting place, especially when it comes to looking up things.
Dangerous, yes.
Exactly, especially in places like Google and Bing. Because college football is back, we decided to take a look at Bing.com and see what people and things were being searched for while the games are taking place.
In this game, which we're calling
All
Bing
right.
Me This, we'll give you the first part of what someone would search in Bing, and you must tell us which of the options is a real search that people did. Correctly answer at least 3 out of 5 questions, and you'll win a What's the Score prize. You can also ask one panelist for a hint at any time during your game, but on only one question. So are you ready to play?
All right, sounds good.
All right, here is your first question. All right, LSU is A, scared of FSU, B, now owned by Wisconsin, or C, purple. Which one of those is a real Bing search?
I'm going to go with purple.
No, that is incorrect. As many people know, though, too, I mean, some of the things people search for on the internet are rather stupid. So just kind of keep an open mind.
That was the thought.
Yes, no, I agree with you. It actually is A, scared of FSU, which I guess makes sense. I mean, based off of it. I mean, college football.
I mean, I don't know if they've played each other recently, so I'm a little confused.
It's one of the top searches when you do LSU is. Apparently, they are scared of FSU. I don't know. Here is your next one.
Lane Kiffin is A, the worst-looking person ever, B, a cheater, or C, back in the SEC.
Lane Kiffin is a cheater. That is a fact. I hope it's a search.
That is also the truth. Yes. All right, here's your next one. The man that everybody loves and loves to hate as well. Jim Harbaugh. Jim Harbaugh is A, from Australia, B, going to be the president one day, or C, a goof?
I'm going to go with going to be the president. He is a goof, but going to be the president.
Oh, no, that is incorrect. You said the answer. He is a goof, actually. So you second-guessed yourself.
The pants. It's the pants.
I know. He says very presidential pants.
I don't hate Michigan like a lot of Badger fans do, but
here.
I can't stand Jim. He is a goof. But he's going to win a lot of games.
He is. That's the thing.
So he'll be a winning goof,
right?
But a goof nonetheless.
I did hear an interesting thing that kind of makes him a goof. I guess he was in a music video, I think. It was with Chance the Rapper, I guess.
Gosh. Do we have official confirmation of that?
I'm pretty he was in a music video.
Oh, my goodness. All right, here is your next one, Brett.
Ohio State is A, dumb, B, a powerhouse, or C, better than Michigan.
I'm going to go with better than Michigan.
Yes, that is correct. As we look across the panel, Ian sits in a Michigan Wolverines polo shirt. How do you feel about that, Ian?
You look at the recent history in football, it's understandable. I'm just thinking right now of my former roommate, who's a big Ohio State fan. But
The Ohio
State, but he never watches any of the games, and I know he's like from that area, but every time I'm like, well, if you're a fan, you should maybe watch some of the games. He's like, they're just that good. I don't need to. So,
sure, we'll go with that. All right, here is your final one, Brett. The man that we just saw yesterday, Les Miles. Les Miles is A, how tall, B, an embarrassment, or C, a better candidate for president than Trump.
Sorry, what was A?
How tall. And remember, you do still have a hint as well from a panelist if you want to use it.
Yeah, I'll use the hint. Sorry,
Okay.
I don't know who's on the panel.
Yep, you can talk to Jimmy, Ian, or Scott.
I'm going to go with Scott.
All right, Scott, how can you give Brett a hint?
The opposite of short.
Oh, how interesting. So that's pretty self-explanatory.
It's pretty self-explanatory. I'll go with A then.
Yes, that is correct. Les Miles is how tall? I did not actually do the search. I do not know how tall Les Miles actually is. He doesn't look that tall. All right, Game Master Scheibe, how did Brett do on our quiz?
Brett got 3 out of 5 correct. He's a winner!
Yay! Congratulations, Brett. Thanks so much for playing, sir.
The moment you've all been waiting for is almost here. Stick around and listen to our panelists duke it out on the Name 5 Panelist Showdown coming up right after the break. Before we do that, though, I want to note that Scott gets an additional point for giving a successful hint during that game.
Way to go, Scott.
Moving up that leaderboard.
I love it.
Don't go away. You're listening to What's the Score? The Sports News Quiz. Hello all, I'm Josh Scheibe, your game master here at What's the Score? The Sports News Quiz. Thanks for listening in. I may not know much about sports, but what I do know about are our social media pages. Check us out on Facebook at What's the Score, or Twitter and Instagram at WTS Sports Quiz. Thanks very much for listening. Hi everyone, I'm your game master, Josh Scheibe.
And I'm your host, Baxter Colburn.
Hey, if you think the show is worth at least $1, why don't you go to our Patreon account?
We'd be very grateful if you donate to the show. That's how people like Josh and I stay employed, or pretend to be employed at least. Thank you so much for listening to What's the Score? The Sports News Quiz. And now, back to more sports trivia action.
I put my checks in the mail. Hello and welcome back. Thanks for listening to What's the Score? The Sports News Quiz. I'm your game master, Josh Scheibe. Our panelists have been warming up for their final showdown. While they get ready, here's your host at the Attention Era Media Studios in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Baxter Colburn.
Thank you, Josh. Thank you, everybody. It's so great to be here. We've had a fantastic show. And now we move on to the most epic part of the show, Game Master Scheibe. What time is it?
It's time for the Name 5 Panelist Showdown. Our panelists will be given 4 topics in which they will have 10 seconds to name 5 people, teams, places, or things related to the sports world. Each panelist will have the same category. However, they cannot repeat answers. 1 point is awarded for each correct answer.
Game Master Scheibe, can you please give us the scores?
I can. Jimmy has 1 point, Ian has 2, and Scott is in the lead with 4.
Oh, my. Scott in the lead with 4. All right, Jimmy, you will be leading us off then, sir, here for round number 1. You'll be naming 5 AFC teams. All right, 10 seconds, and begin.
New England Patriots, Buffalo Bills, Miami Dolphins, Pittsburgh Steelers, Cincinnati Bengals.
There you go. He got all 5. Nicely done.
I'm off the schneid.
I love it. All right, 10 seconds over to you, Ian, and begin.
Oakland Raiders, Denver Broncos, San Diego Chargers, Kansas City Chiefs, Cincinnati Bengals.
Bengals said.
Cleveland Browns.
There you go. He got it. That's 5. All right, there we go. Nicely done. So 10 teams have been said. I believe there are 6 left there for you, Scott. 10 seconds and begin.
All right, Colts, Jacksonville Jaguars, Houston Texans, Tennessee Titans, and New York Jets.
Yes, there we go. He got all 5. Look at that. Good work. You went to the East Coast. They were on the West Coast. I love it. All right, Ian, you'll be starting round number 2. 10 seconds naming Division I college mascots. Got it? Mascots. 10 seconds and begin.
See, the Michigan Wolverines, the Ohio State Buckeyes, the Michigan State Spartans, the Northwestern Wildcats, and the Kansas Jayhawks.
There you go. I like it. Well done. Well done. Stole that one from Jimmy. All right, over to you, Scott. 10 seconds and begin.
Purdue Boilermakers, Alabama Crimson Tide, the Stanford Cardinal, the Florida State Seminoles, Florida Gators.
There you go. He got 5 again. Over to you, Jimmy. 10 seconds and begin.
The UCLA Bruins, the Cal Bears, the USC Trojans, the Arizona State.
Ooh, he only got 3. You were looking for the Sun Devils, I believe. Yes. All right, moving on to round number 3. Scott, we'll start with you this round. You'll be naming 5 current Major League Baseball pitchers.
Okay.
10 seconds and begin.
Clayton Kershaw, Madison Bumgarner, CC Sabathia, Zach Davies, and Jake Arrieta.
There you go. He got all 5. He got the big ones, too. For those that don't play along, they're like, ooh, what am I going to do now? All right,
and
Jimmy.
Zach Davies. The big ones and Zach.
And Zach. All right. All right, 10 seconds, starting with you now, Jimmy, and begin.
Matt Garza.
Oof. Lovely day, isn't it?
That's it.
Nobody else?
That's all we got.
Okay. There we go. I was like, we have 10 seconds. All right, he got 1. Fair enough. All right, Ian, over to you for 10 seconds and begin.
Justin Verlander, Michael Fulmer, Jordan Zimmerman, Anibal Sanchez, and Daniel Norris.
There we go. He got 5. Wow, look at this. Ian and Scott are keeping up with each other. All right, as we head to the final round, Game Master Scheibe, what are the scores?
Jimmy has 10 points, Ian has 17, and Scott is in the lead with 19.
Ooh, Scott has a nice little lead over Ian, and Jimmy is hanging around. But the way our 4th round works is you are given 10 seconds to name as many of the topic, okay? So you have 10 seconds, but don't stop at 5 if you know far more than that, all right? So, Jimmy, we will start with you. You'll be naming as many of NFC West players. So that is the 49ers, the Seahawks, the Cardinals, and the LA Rams. As many players as you can in 10 seconds. Are you ready?
Sure.
Okay, and begin.
Torrey Gurley, Russell Wilson, Patrick Peterson.
Ooh, only 3 for Jimmy. Okay, no problem. All right, what is Ian looking at right now, Game Master Scheibe?
Ian has 17. He needs 2 to tie and 3 to go ahead.
All right, Ian, over to you. 10 seconds. 49ers, Seahawks, Cardinals, L.A. Rams. Begin.
Thomas Rawls, Blaine Gabbert, Jimmy Graham, Tyrann Mathieu, Carson Palmer, Chris Johnson, Jared Goff, Todd Gurley.
Said. All right, I got 7 off of him on that one. All right, so Game Master Scheibe, what is Scott looking at to tie and or win?
Let's see. Scott needs 5 to tie and 6 to win.
All right, we do have a tiebreaker if we get to that. All right, Scott, ready to roll?
Yes.
And begin.
Alec Ogletree, Michael Floyd, Tavon Austin, Jermaine Kearse, Christian Ponder, Larry Fitzgerald, Richard Sherman. I'm good. I'll stop.
Couple of seconds left. There we go. All right, my goodness. Game Master Scheibe, what are the scores?
The final scores are Jimmy in third with 13 points, Ian in second with 24, and Scott's the winner with 26.
My goodness!
Beginner's luck.
That's what we'll say it is. Yes, you're the ace in the hole, apparently, Scott. Well, Scott, we'll start with you. We always ask a couple of follow-up questions after we're done here. Your first time on the panel, you also are a champion as well. What did you make of your first What's the Score experience?
It was awesome. Incredible.
Good.
I'm to be able to do it again.
Absolutely. We'd love to have you back. Jimmy, another new man on the block. What'd you think? A little bit of a learning curve, obviously, but good showing, though, from you.
I don't know stuff good.
If we go back to the beginning, you are a sports editor, I believe, but you know a lot of things. It's just
I know everything else that was not asked today.
Oh, darn it. We had those other questions that Jimmy would know if not asked today, and next time when you're on.
Non-sports knowing sports editor.
Yes, perfect. All right, and Ian, as we know, you are a very big time player on the show, and you lost.
Yeah, I mean, when you got two new people coming on, you don't know what to expect from them.
Exactly. You haven't had any game film on them. You haven't been able to study.
Yeah, it's tough to speculate what's going to happen, but I'm still waiting for that one moment I get to go against Dan Pfeiffer. That's the one I'm looking for.
Well, we're hoping to do that in a couple of weeks, hopefully. So we'd like to hopefully have you back on the show. All right, well, What's the Score has been a production of the Sports Podcasting Network. Thank you to our contestants and studio audience here at the Attention Era Media Studios. Our panelists this week have been Jimmy Carlton, Ian DeMarse, and Scott Wisnieski. Our social media producer is Tony Larson. Our social media staff is comprised of Emily Heffler and Christian Gill. Our theme was composed by Danny Hoffenstein. Our show producers were Caleb Pearson and David Bobke, and the executive director of What's the Score is Liz Colburn.
I've been your game master, Josh Scheibe.
And I have been your host, Baxter Colburn. Thanks so much for tuning in, and we will see you next time on What's the Score.